So this project is all about getting organised, whether it is you're organising your craft room, whether it is you're organising another room in the home, or you're making storage as a gift for someone to help them get organised. Now, the difficulty with a stack of drawers like this is you need to build additional strength in. Even our Centura Pearl card, which is 300 GSM minimum, is not quite strong enough as a single wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to do these drawers as double walls projects, okay? And then we're going to look at how to do the slipcase for them and then put them all together. Now, this is not the slipcase that I might have taught you previously using our boxer board and that technique. Because we are double walling, we're working with totally different thicknesses. So it's not so much a technique I'm going to teach you here, but I'm going to teach you how to make this exact set of boxes, which is a really handy size. Now, starting off, I'm going to start by doing the inner part of the box. So I've got a sheet of cardstock here, which is cut to 13.5 inches by 11 inches. So you're starting with A3 cardstock to begin with to cut this down to this size, okay? Now, I'm going to start and I'm going to score a box base because this is like the inside of the box. So it's very different to how you might have done slip covers before, okay? So I'm going to score at 1.25 inches, okay? All the way around. So that's one and then 2 little notches past one. I'm only telling you this because I often get confused and I'm quite often thinking I'm scoring 1.25. I'm really scoring 1 1/8 because remember with the board we do go down to the 1/8 measurements, okay? Now you need to burnish all of these crease lines and always folding away from you to do the burnish. But actually then I'm going to turn them over and fold them the other way because what we're going to do to double wall the box, we're going to put our crease line up and score a second time. All right. Now remember, any time you're scoring multiple score lines on box base, you can't just score the second score line. You need to fold, burnish and put the burnished crease up. So I'm going to go in at 1.25 again and just score all the way up. So each time folding that crease line and then doing a new score line. It is a little bit more fiddly. It's much easier when you're working on box lid because you don't need to do this stage, but in this case the measurements are done on box base. Okay, now let me show you what we're going to do in the corner, okay? First of all, we're going to cut right in to the second score line and you're going to cut away a big notch, okay? Then what you're going to do is cut away the remaining kind of 3 sections as it was and just cut a little notch out of that one too. So can you see what it is that we're doing? I'll show you that on one more corner. So you cut right in to the central score line and then cut your notch away. Then I'm going to cut the other 3 panels off and actually cut in as well the score line there, okay? Now you need to do that on all 4 corners, and just to speed things along a little bit, I've got one where I've done all of my cutting here. So now I'm ready to show you how to do the gluing. So I just put my board to one side, I'll bring in the cutting mat. Right, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to assemble this as a box like this. So first thing we need to do is put glue on our corners and assemble the corners in. Now, that's the end of that tape pen. Now, usually I wouldn't advocate the use of tape pens for creating boxes. However, the Crafters Companion tape pens have been specifically engineered so they've got a stronger glue in here than a regular tape pen would. Now, this is a little bit fiddly, so if you pay attention here, you need to fold this in. So can you see inside that's gluing on the inside piece there? I'll do this one from the inside so you can see. And we're just lining it up and gluing that in. So this is all about creating a double wall box. Okay, so it might be the first time you've used this technique to create a double wall box. Right. Then we're going to stick the walls down. So I'm sticking glue right at the outer edge. It's very important to get it right on the edge. And then that glues in, and it will be very tight, but you should find that that'll glue in and you can burnish right along here. Now this is how we're putting the strength into this. You can feel just how strong that extra wall is there. Do the same on the opposite corner. So we're going right along the very, very edge of the cardstock, folding it in, nice and tight it'll be, and then I'm burnishing that crease. And I've got very, very strong double wall boxes there. So I do the remaining last two sides, and then they're going to fold in. And actually what it does is it neatens up the inside of your box as well. So you can see now, you actually can't see any of my corner workings where they've all been glued together. So nice, very, very strong slider bit for the box. Okay, now this way I'm going to bring in the board again, and now I'm going to do the slip case. Right, now I said earlier in the project, this is not a regular slip case. This is because we're double walling the box, and I'm double walling elements of the slip case. So the measurements, it's not like you can follow a pattern or understand what I've done here. You literally just need to follow the measurements that I give you. So you're starting off with a full piece of A3, and I've trimmed 1 inch off the length. Okay, so it's just slightly smaller. And remember, you can refer back to the printable PDF for all of the sizes exactly. Right, now we're scoring against box lid, and what I'm going to do is on the longer sides, I'm going to score at 1 5/8 of an inch on both opposite sides. So 1 1/2, 1 5/8 there. Turn right around. I'm going to do the same again, 1 5/8. Okay, this is the bit that we're going to use for the double walling, because what you'll see is the slip case is pretty much the size of the inside part here. All right, now your measurements. What we're going to do is we're going to score first of all 1 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then I'm going to fold, burnish that fold line, and pop it up against the rest again. Now I'm going to score at 5 7/8. So 1 2 3 4 5, half, 6 7/8. Okay. Same again, creasing and burnishing, and then I'm going to do 1 3/8 again. 1 2 3. I'm always folding away from myself. Remember, it's all to do with how you get the good score lines. And then I'm going to go again one last time at 5 7/8. 1 2 3 4 5 7/8. Okay. Just fold and burnish that. Now, what you need to do is cut away the elements at the side that we don't need. So if I bring in my scissors again, first of all, I'm going to cut these corners away here. Okay. Then here, I'm just cutting out the V. Same here. And then at the end, cutting away the whole corner. Okay. So if I show you that again, starting from this end, cutting out the corner and just cutting the V shape off the edges to neaten it up. And then V's at each of these score lines. Now the key with any project like this is accuracy, so although I look like I'm going quite fast, I want you to take your time and make sure that you're accurate with these score lines. Right, now to glue the slipcase together, I just take my board out because we've done all the scoring that we need to do now. Remember what I said, these parts here I've done literally for strength, so what I'm going to do is glue these in first. Now, really important to make sure these are glued. Let's have a look, I'll bring this mat in so that you can see what I'm doing. Make sure that these have got plenty of glue on them. because what you don't want is your drawer catching inside the slipcase, okay? So I am just putting loads and loads of glue on here, right? Then we'll fold these in and use that tool to really burnish along the edges and make sure the glue is thoroughly stuck down. Same on the opposite side, so I'm just putting some in at the score line and then some at the edge. So that has given me the double walling effect both sides. But remember, you see, every time we're adding a double wall, we're adding another 300 grams of cardstock thickness into it, which is why we need to totally work out separate measurements here, as opposed to using the general calculations that I give you for the slip box. So, slip box is going to come together like this. I just pop a little bit of tape on this side here. I always find with the slip boxes, it's much easier to construct around your box because you've got something to press onto, and also you know it's going to fit. And always take the box out to really strengthen that glue. So just the same again as I've been doing, burnishing those creases nicely. Okay, so here's the thing, that's how you make the slip box and the drawer, and you need to make 3 of those, or however many you want. You know, I've done a stack of 3 boxes here. If you wanted to do more boxes, you just continue making as many as you want. But I find 3 works together quite nicely. Okay, now need to glue them all together. So what I'm going to use to glue them together is the tacky glue, because I find that it's quite quick and easy to use, and it does what it says on the tin. It tacks instantly. So I'm leaving the slip covers inside, just getting plenty of the tacky glue on there, and positioning the next one on. And then the same with the top one. Now usually I'd say not to put this much glue on, but because we're working with the Centura Pearl card and it's double wall, it's very thick, so you're not worried about the card buckling. Okay, so it's going to add extra strength to my boxes. Then what I've done is I've created some side panels and a top panel here. Now what I will say is it's easier if you follow the measurements that I've given you on the CD-ROM, on the sheets there, but I have, with all of these, double lined them. So instead of having a rough edge, I've now got a folded score edge. So actually the top one here is 9 3/8 by 6.5. The sides are coming in 9 3/8 by 5 1/4, and the back is 7 by 5 3/8. So all of those sizes are on the sheet for you, but they've all then been scored at 1/2 inch, and the edge is folded in, which just gives you that neat score line all the way around. And it just means that you don't get any wide raggy edges showing. Now, what I am going to do is the back one, notice I haven't folded all these in, because I'm going to actually use it to stick around the box like this. Can you see? So, just using the tape pen, I'm going to go on all these sides here. And what I've done is I've used the bottom one, because I'm not sticking an extra piece on the bottom. I've already stuck the bottom one flat. But the top one there is just going to fold around, as will the sides. Okay. Now it's quite hard, you know, while the glue's all still drying. I wanted to take the box out here so that I can get in and stick this down a little bit better. Okay. So there's my back on. Put my last drawer back in. And then for the sides, I'll stick them on with a little bit of tacky glue again. You've got to remember, you don't need to worry about this interfering with the mechanism, because the mechanisms operate inside. So if you get little bits of glue in between the drawers or whatever, it won't make any difference, because it's not going to interfere with the drawers sliding into place here. And you can just see how that's really neatened everything up really, really well. And then finally the top piece. And you probably don't need to do a top if you don't want. It does just add a little bit of extra strength. So you can see there, that's how the construction's done. But if I bring in the one that I've done in decorated card, you can see there how just having all of those panels really finishes it off perfectly. And then you do need to make some sort of little hook. Now, can you see what I've done here? I've just actually tied a knot and then glued that into place there, just to give me a little pulley for all of the drawers. You can decorate yours however you want, but the best thing about this project is the strength in it. I wanted these to be useful drawers, not just pretty drawers. So by double walling everything and taking that extra time and effort, it does make these very, very strong and versatile. So if you are using them for storing your craft projects, perfect.